Good afternoon, basketball fans. Welcome into the Ontario Tech Gymnasium from wherever you're watching from. The semi-finals are about to get underway with Team British Columbia taking on Team Ontario. JJ Evison alongside Haley Hopkinson. And the British Columbia's women's team just booked their ticket to the championship game over in the Durham College. So let's start with Team British Columbia coming in to this game with a 1-2 record. Their only win, the one that mattered, got them into this game yesterday, a 79-72 close victory over Nova Scotia. Who are a couple of players you're watching out for here in this contest, Haley?
I'm definitely watching out for Logan Schpack and Shapotkin. They had great games in the first meeting that they had, and of course I am expecting, obviously, some big differences from the first day of Nationals to now, but Schpack had 10 points in that first one, but we've been able to see him really go off. He's definitely going to be the main threat on that team, so keeping eyes out for him. I think that's going to be Ontario's biggest threat here for sure.
He put up 36 against Alberta, absolutely cooked in that game, and was held relatively scoreless in the Nova Scotia game. But he's still averaging 20 points per game on 45% from the field. Roster update for British Columbia. They will be without Mahir Julka today, the 6'4 forward out of Surrey, BC. Over to Team Ontario. You look up and down this 12-person lineup. You could throw a dart at a dartboard and hit a player that you're keeping an eye on. But who is it today that you're looking for to step up and really deliver a performance that wills this team to another championship game?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be Thomas Stroman today. He's been very consistent throughout this entire Nationals, but in this matchup, like you said, with BC missing some big players, this is definitely a big time for him to shine. During their warm-ups, we see that they're always working on his post presence, and I think we've definitely seen a lot of that, but I think today is a day where he can thrive even more, and this is a great matchup for him specifically.
Your officials for this semifinal match are Jake Babin, Turgut Karatop, and Charles Perron-Splonik. Both teams at center court ready for the tip-off. Starting lineups for Ontario. It's the captain, Praise Badejo, Cavante Walters, Brandon Clark, Thomas Stroman, who is up for the jump ball. They're going to re-jump that, and rounding out the starting five is Jordan Osage for British Columbia, Sam Shpotkin, Nathaniel Osei-Bodu. Keep an eye out for him on the defensive side of things. Logan Schpack, Benjamin Seva, and Marcus Tyler. Stroman going forward with the jump ball. British Columbia will have the first possession. It's Shpotkin picked up by Walters. Shpotkin handed off to Osage, looking down inside. Loose ball, 7 seconds on the shot clock. Osei-Bodu to the corner. Shpotkin for three, front iron. Walters with the rebound.
Last time we saw these two teams play, Ontario did a great job of forcing BC to take the three-pointer shot throughout the entire game, and there were 7 for 32 of those. So that was definitely the key to Ontario's defense, is cutting off any lanes, and BC's definitely not going to want to get trapped, only being able to shoot around the perimeter this game.
Turnover on the entry pass. Osei-Bodu the other way. Loose ball comes to the hands of Seva. He's going to float it from the mid-range, no good. But Dejo can't get two hands on the ball, and British Columbia will have it on the baseline. 14 on the shot clock. Schpack from the corner. Front iron. Walters, another defensive rebound. Ahead to Clark. This is where Ontario can do damage in the fast break. But Marcus Tyler says, get that out of here. The 6'7 center from Langley, British Columbia, getting back in transition to swat that away, deterring any scoring from Brandon Clark early on. Stroman, quick into Badejo, kicks it out. Top side, Clark puts the rock to the deck, gets inside, dumps it off. Stroman off the glass.
We know Ontario does do a great job of finding those cutters and everything like that, but that's why I think Stroman's going to have a great time in this matchup, because the little dishes just like that, the extra pass is going to get him a better look rather than getting double teamed with the cutter.
This time it's British Columbia with the turnover. Badejo working down the left-hand side. Clark comes and travels. Shuffling the feet. One thing we've heard consistently from head coach Yusri Salia of Team Ontario, it's consistency in his team's play. Regardless of the outcome of the play, a bad foul call, a turnover like that, the focus needs to be on the next possession, and it's also regardless of the score of the game.
Yep. And that's why, and I remember this especially last year, talking a lot with the women's coaches at Nationals, but you wonder why you see Team Ontario still having such dominant performances when they do get up by 40 or when they get up by 50. It's because every team here deserves to get the best out of their opponent, and that's exactly what you're saying too with all the consistency.
Osei Bodu's in and out. Badejo with the rebound, turns on the Jets. He's working on Spack. Now we saw a little bit yesterday of Ontario trying to pull out the defense further from the top of the key. British Columbia staying a little bit tighter. Badejo from the corner, no. Rebound Spack. Another turnover, Walters. Euro steps in the lane. Shpotkin with the block. Quickly ahead, Osei Bodu down the right-hand side, and he gets fouled, cut off by Badejo. Badejo is one of those players who will contribute in every single category. 10 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks in the first game. And he consistently has those stat lines.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even if his scoring isn't there, you're going to see him in a ton of other aspects in the game.
Osei Bodu at the line, the 6'2 forward from Burnaby. Connects on the first. Ties it up at 2.
I think for both teams this is a great start defensively. And we're seeing already BC kind of giving that press back a little bit. Not too full court, but I think kind of slowing them down, taking a little longer to get set up on offense is a great move for them.
So they're playing a 2-1-2 zone, it looks like, with the backside help being at or above the free throw line. Stolen, Clark, two-handed jam. So there you go, a steal and an assist for Badejo on that play.
Yeah, well, he is one of the top-rated players eligible for the NBA draft in 2029. It's hard to believe thinking that far into the future, but when you have such talent at the age like this, you kind of have to, right?
Mateo Moyes made his debut yesterday. He's got an offer from Cal State Bakersfield, the D1 school already. Walters to the rack. And in the blink of an eye, Ontario's up 8-2, and British Columbia head coach Graham Bonner going to call it timeout. So in the early goings, British Columbia 0 for 5 from the field. Ontario 3 of 7. Most of the other stat categories neck and neck early on. We'll see what head coach Yusri Salia draws up to deal with this hybrid zone defense British Columbia is throwing at Ontario. Perhaps some substitutions to be made. Obviously, Nathan Rudnick can stroke it from deep. We saw that in bunches over the past few days. And he got teed up yesterday on his celebration.
Yeah, he did. Getting a little too excited there. But, yeah, going back to the first meeting between these two, Ontario was 3 for 16 with the three-pointers, but we rarely saw them really take those shots because everything was coming from the paint. There was no mid-range action at all. Seriously, all 103 points of theirs minus 9 from three-pointers were in the paint. But I think BC's done a great job of forcing Ontario to take a variety of shots, which I think is really going to work out in their favor.
3 in, 3 out for Ontario. Nicholas Woodrich into the game alongside Elijah Hammond. And the sixth-man candidate, Jalen Shepard, is averaging 18 points per game off the bench. Pretty astonishing feat. Ranks 4th overall in tournament in scoring. Spack from deep finds the bottom. Woodrich to Clark in the corner. Spotkin picks him up. They'll reset at the top to find Shepard. Here's Sage. Looking backside, Clark. Well-timed cut. Couldn't finish the dunk, and it's saved by Hammond. The pass either intended for Osage or Clark. If it was Clark, he couldn't handle it. If it was Osage, Clark interrupted it.
And like you were mentioning earlier, Ontario trying to get BC to guard them further out, but we've seen every team kind of fall for that trick here, but BC doing a good job of still tracking them and staying high alert around these Ontario players, but not kind of giving them what they want in that sense.
Shapotkin finds Seva on the far side. Seva will pull it. No good. Fighting for the rebound, Shapotkin and Hammond. Woodrich keeps it alive. Woodrich, mid-range floater. Nothing but net. Again, the only returning player for Team Ontario from last year, Nicholas Woodrich, plays his summer ball at UPlay Canada and his scholastic ball with Royal Crown Academy. Brandon Clark's going to go to the line for a pair. 5-point game, almost halfway through the opening frame. Ren Hetherington's going to come in for British Columbia, averaging a shade under 2 blocks per game, so a little bit more rim protection. And Rudnick is going to come in for Ontario. Elijah Hammond to the bench there.
Well, like you were saying, Rudnick with that 3-point shot. If BC's given up a little too much space around the perimeter now, we know he'll shoot it, so that's a good way for Ontario to kind of disrupt BC's defensive plan.
The other thing about Rudnick's game is when he's on the perimeter, he doesn't just stand and watch the play. He'll relocate and relocate, set a screen and relocate. He understands the importance of off-ball movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clark rattles them both through 12-5. 7-point lead, Ontario. Seva trying to get out of the break. Hetherington has to come back. A few seconds to get it over the timeline, and Ontario forced their first 8-second violation. They've got about 6 of them so far in the tournament.
Well, we know that press is super deadly, and with this being the second matchup here, I believe Ontario's only matchup where they've played each other twice. And you got to imagine that from the first matchup, they knew that they were hopefully going to run into Ontario again in this situation, and that press was going to be a massive part of the game strategy.
Woodrich back to Shepherd. Dials it from deep, no good. Rebound by Marcus Tyler. Hetherington over the timeline quite easily there. Osei Bodu, jab step in the lane. Change of pace gets him right under the rack. And around Rudnick for 2. Here's Rudnick, doesn't hesitate on the pass from Shepherd. Overcooks it, but there to save it, Brandon Clark, who takes it back up and under. Brandon Clark seems to be, he's every first quarter, he seems to be, the shoo-in for player of the game.
No, absolutely, and it's a great thing to have because while it might take some other Ontario players maybe a second to settle into the matchup, he's going to be able to give Ontario usually the lead in every single scenario to give kind of the other players that grace of settling in, finding their shot, finding their spacing. So, yeah, he's definitely one of the most important pieces to this team.
The kick out, Woodrich, the step through, leaves it short. Hammond there for the rebound. Second chance opportunity, no good. Shot clock's going to reset, and so will Team Ontario. Jalen Shepherd eyeing Osei Bodu. Tons of space in front of him. He's going to work it to the middle. The entry pass deflected out of bounds. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Maybe that should have gone to the corner and then on the inside. Shapotkin's coming back into the game. Ontario unable to get their subs in because the players didn't have their jerseys tucked in, something we've seen repeatedly throughout this tournament. Shepherd, Woodrich, catch and shoot, blocked. Bodu got him on the arm. 3 upcoming free throws for Nicholas Woodrich. Mateo Moyes and Thomas Stroman checking in.
That's one thing Ontario hasn't really had issues with throughout this entire tournament is inbounding the ball. We haven't seen really any team give them a big run for their money in that, and to find Woodrich around the perimeter like that, they've got great plays, but of course, like you're saying, not having those jerseys tucked in, I'm sure with 2 seconds on the shot clock to have Stroman in the paint would have been ideal for them, but worked out anyways. I'm excited to see this matchup too of Shapotkin in this game. He plays with VSC, club team in BC, and that club team plays against Genesis basketball a lot, a big presence in Alberta, and a ton of their top players playing over there. So he's used to this big competition, and I'm sure he couldn't be too happy with the results of that first game. So a little revenge here, and a matchup with him and Rudnick would be really entertaining to watch.
Where you would see Mahir Juko check into the game, we now get Dalshan Dhaliwal. Shapotkin also back into the game at that last break. He is back on the board with another 6-point game. 3 minutes remaining in the opening 10. Shepard to the corner. Rudnick, back iron. Loose ball collected by Osei Bodu. Shapotkin dances past the timeline. Woodrich reaches in. Ontario 2-team fouls, and in comes Cavante Walters. The team's leading assist man, shooting 50% from the field, averaging a shade over 15 points and 4 assists per game. He had 8 of the team's 22 assists in their win over Quebec. Up next, we will have Quebec and Alberta battling for the other spot in the championship game tomorrow night at 6 o'clock here at the Ontario Tech Gymnasium. Kabir Dillon for British Columbia. Logan Spack to Dillon in the corner. Bottom. And the scouting report on it, Dillon, is he can shoot it from deep. At the expiration of the shot clock in yesterday's game, he threw up a prayer that went right in the basket. Spack with the steal. Pulls up from 3. That rattles in, and it's a tie game.
Wow, so already BC being 3 for 5, and like I was mentioning earlier, they were 7 for 32 in the first matchup, so they're definitely having a better shooting night already in this one. And another big stat that stood out to me was the rebounding game in the first matchup, with Ontario finishing with 62 and BC finishing with only 41. Right now, Ontario still with the advantage 9-7, but regardless, keeping up in that stat and keeping that close, I think is going to be a massive key in here. Ontario this entire tournament has been dominating in those second chance points. And of course, that's something, against a tough team like Ontario, BC is going to have to rely on a lot of those second chance points and only limiting Ontario to 1 shot per possession.
Used to seeing Ontario lead in the fast break points category as well. Still early on, but they trail British Columbia. And now British Columbia is shooting 50% from the field. Started off 0 for 5, have since gone 6 of 7. I'm sure head coach Yusri Salia is talking to his team right now about the importance of defense, getting back, hands in the passing lanes.
Yep.
All of the basic skills of defensive basketball that need to be focused on.
Absolutely.
Here's the captain. Playing give and go with Mateo Moyes. They'll settle it in the half court. Badejo wants Shepard on the far side. Shepard working on Dillon. Foul going to be on the pass.
Logan Spack on that play, trying to cut off any passing angles, playing a little more higher up on Ontario there. I think their defense has done a great job of kind of the switching without communication to make sure everyone's covered without totally have to playing a very cut-and-go man-to-man defense.
Moyes finds Badejo, who attacks and finds Moyes on the other side. 3 is off the mark. Badejo above everybody for the rebound. Second chance, no good. Dhaliwal ahead to Spack. He's got Shepard to beat. Takes it right into his body. Good job by Shepard, staying strong and vertical. Walters, 1 on 3. Second foul on Kabir Dillon in the matter of 20 seconds.
Yeah, so no more to give for BC, and the last thing you want to do, time's winding down quickly here, but give Team Ontario some extra opportunities to get some points here.
Brandon Clark back into the game. He leads Ontario with 6 points and 2 assists so far. Badejo to trigger. Got to get it in. Finds Clark in the corner. Defender blows by. Clark to the rack. Fouled by Shapotkin. And Brandon Clark going to the line for a look at 2.
For his personal foul on Sam Shapotkin. That makes it 5 fouls against British Columbia. Shooting 2 with Brandon Clark.
And Clark keeps Ontario perfect from the line, 7 of 7 in the opening quarter. Jordan Osage back in for Ontario. Stroman to the bench. Osei Bodu, 3-on-2 here for British Columbia. They couldn't find the advantage. Dead ball. Here's Hetherington. He finds Shapotkin. Pulls up from the midi. Bottom over top of Badejo.
4 points for him, and Osage coming in I think is a good move here. He led rebounding for Team Ontario in the first meeting with 8, and that's one thing they're going to have to tomorrow.
Walters splashes one in from the corner to take the lead back, 22-19, under 60 seconds to go in the first 10. Spack trying to turn the corner, changes pace, gets his own rebound. That's swatted away by Badejo. He leads Walters on the fast break. Walters, no mistake, laying it in with the right hand. And all of a sudden, it's a 5-point game. Hetherington and Spack playing catch. Now worked on the far side. Shapotkin takes the handoff. Finds Spack. Thought about it. Does shoot it. That rims around and into the hands of Badejo, who collects his 3rd rebound. Walters, backside, Clark, gonna kick it back out. Dollywall with the rebound, 10 seconds left in the opening quarter. Hetherington over the timeline. Osei Bodu to the rack, strong, no good. Dollywall following up the play and gets it to go, and after 10 minutes, Ontario lead British Columbia by 3. We'll step aside for the quarter break and be back with second quarter action here from the Ontario Tech University Gymnasium. You're watching the Canadian Men's National Championship 15U, live on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. Ten more minutes until halftime. Ontario up by 3, largely in part due to the fact that they're having a little bit of trouble navigating the zone defense of British Columbia.
Well, absolutely, and we saw it a ton in that first matchup where every single lane was open for Ontario. So coming into this matchup, I'm sure they thought that the extra pass and the cutters would give them the same kind of results as the first one, but it's not at this point. BC's moving their feet so much. They're doing a great job on defense. I think the key for them is you can't let up at any moment in this game. You got to keep them tight. And for Ontario, we see that during the huddle there that all 3 assistant coaches working together trying to also kind of break down their defense and what BC's doing. But for Ontario, it's going to be moving quicker, I think. You got to outrun them, whether it's with your feet or whether it's with the ball.
Badejo attacking baseline, kicks it back out. Woodrich, back iron. Rebound fought for and collected by Shapocket. He's being hounded by Walters. Over the timeline, right into the middle of the floor. Dollywall with the handoff and fouled on the backside by Brandon Clark. First foul of the second quarter coming just 24 seconds.
Well, coming into this, I did think that BC would have a difficult time working in the paint, just with the absences they have, but Dollywall's done a fantastic job so far, kind of making his own space regardless of being double-teamed in the paint. But yeah, Ontario 1 for 9 in the three-pointer right now, and it's kind of BC giving Ontario a taste of their own medicine, forcing them to take that three-pointer.
Hetherington above the crowd for the offensive rebound, looking to reset at the top. Inside, Shpotkin spins, loses the handle, finds Osei Bodu. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Walters has it the other way. Slows up, gets fouled on the undercut. Cavante Walters to the free throw line for Ontario. 6'3" guard out of Toronto. Plays for Canada Elite in the summertime.
Yeah, and this was a matchup he truly thrived in, making a big name for himself the second Nationals started. So I think he's doing a good job. 8 points now, so got off to a good start.
Osei Bodu double teamed. Finds Shpotkin. Dollywall underneath the basket. One bounce, spin move into the lane. And Dollywall showing some footwork.
Yeah.
That's quite fancy.
Well, absolutely. And we know that Ontario's press is very difficult and it relies on the double team. But what BC's doing is if there's a double team, that means someone's open. And they're doing a great job of finding that one open player, which is really just using their press against them at this point. They definitely know how to break this at this point. And if they can continue that, this could be a close game until the very last minutes here.
See Cavante Walters calming his team down, giving them the signs to stay even-keeled, focus on the next play as they were forced into an 8-second backcourt violation, and they're the ones that are used to imposing that on the other teams. Here's Logan Shpak, around 2 Ontario players in the corner. Osei Bodu finds Dollywall on the roll. Dollywall count the basket and the foul. And British Columbia have really emerged as a tough out in this tournament after going 0-2 to start it.
Well, and what they have an advantage in right now is the surprise element. I mean, you lose to Team Ontario 103-51. Of course, Team Ontario isn't a team that gets complacent or underestimates anybody. But there's always that little bit in the back of your mind saying, oh, well, if you 50-piece them the first time, there's a good chance that you could be dominant again. So the element of surprise right now is definitely, I think, got Ontario a little rattled here.
Turnover. Badejo has Woodrich. Woodrich trailed by Shpak, but Badejo couldn't get his hands on the rebound as he was trying to time it for the putback. Quickly ahead now. Seva into the body of Badejo. No, Clark with the rebound. Walters ahead of the pack, accepts the pass, throws it down with 2 hands, and gets the lead right back for Ontario.
Well, that's one of their biggest strengths is their transition basketball, so more of that, and they do have a chance to pull ahead again.
Osei Bodu gets double teamed. Woodrich got a good swipe on the ball. Official on the far says it. He got him on the arm as well.
Well, right now it's Clark and Badejo both sitting with 3. Or, sorry. Nope, I was looking at assists. They both have 1.
Hetherington double teamed on the backside by Walters. Walters has Woodrich ahead. Accepts the pass, lays it in fancy with the right hand. And that's how you get out of your own head when you're focused on a bad foul call. Get a bucket. There's a turnover. Another chance for Woodrich. He sees it through and lets out an emphatic scream. Timeout, British Columbia, after giving up 4 straight points and 1 turnover.
Well, yeah, and like I was saying with the surprise element, that definitely caught Ontario off guard, and they need to settle back into this game and settle back into the way that they play, which is forcing turnovers like they just did and working with that transition basketball, which they did. Their press is still going to be effective regardless if BC can break it, because it still takes time to break it. And I think as long as they don't turn their own their own press into an advantage for BC's transition basketball, I think they'll be good. And that's just about keeping that pressure, but also keeping aware of, if there's a double team there, who's open and who's going to help.
We were talking about Captain Badejo off the top. He's got 2 points to go with 3 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals already. Getting it done in those 4 categories. Just 1 of 3 from the field. He doesn't often look for his shot first. I mean, you've got Walters and Clark with 5 field goal attempts apiece. Woodrich has 4. Surprise, surprise, Jalen Shepard only 1.
Yeah, that is shocking. They do rely a lot on his presence off the bench, but again, everyone needs to settle into this game a little bit more. Him getting some more open looks for him, but for Badejo, what a year for him. Last year he was an alternate, didn't end up making the final roster for this U15 squad, but captain this year and also was able to represent Team Canada at the U16 FIBA AmeriCup this year, so ton of experience for him. No wonder he's the captain, and being selfless goes along with that role.
Spot over the timeline, finds Osei Bodu, who's working underneath, showing some nice patience. Badejo a little hungry to get a steal or a block on that possession. And Osei Bodu forces him to make that decision quickly. Here's Shepard, top side as we approach 7 minutes left until the halftime. Stroman works it back to Shepard on the top side. Clark has it in the corner. He's going to attack. He puts Seva in the weight room. There's a foul on the floor. It's going to go against Seva. And Brandon Clark's back to the free throw line, looking to add to his 10 points. And from the free throw line, he's a perfect 4 for 4.
Well, I think with BC not playing out to them, I think that's definitely affecting Jalen Shepard's a little bit more. He's very great at making his own lanes and driving to the net, and of course, when they're not playing too high up on him, it's a little more difficult for him. But for someone like Clark, regardless of where they're playing on him defensively, with his size and his power and just his long strides, he's still able to drive, which is why I think he's definitely shining in this moment, and why Jalen Shepard maybe is having a little bit more of a difficult time kind of finding his own ways to score.
Clark with the rare 0 for 2 trip. Shepard with the rebound. Blocked at the top by Seva. Clark bodying himself right under the basket. Another foul, and Brandon Clark's back to the free throw line. Each team with 3 fouls. We're at the 6:40 mark of the second quarter. So Dollywall called for the foul as bodies collided underneath the basket. Clark started the game 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Now is 0 for 3. Four-point game. Seva has it. Finds Shpotkin. BC into the front court.
Goes right to the bucket.
Oh yeah, you just love watching. I love watching them do this. That's exactly what they want to do, right? That and you shift and your left hands, you finish.
Lead in tennis, Brown parents. Miller, straight hard. Saxon with the left. And goes Sherman. Goes right to the bucket.
Oh yeah, you just love watching. I love watching them do this. That's exactly what they want to do, right? That and you shift and your left hands, you finish.
Lead in tennis, Brown parents. Miller, straight hard. Saxon with the left. And goes Sherman. Goes right to the bucket.
Oh yeah, you just love watching. I love watching them do this. That's exactly what they want to do, right? That and you shift and your left hands, you finish.
Lead in tennis, Brown parents. Miller, straight hard. Saxon with the left. And goes Sherman. Goes right to the bucket.
Oh yeah, you just love watching. I love watching them do this. That's exactly what they want to do, right? That and you shift and your left hands, you finish.
Lead in tennis, Brown parents. Miller, straight hard. Saxon with the left.
Now, 46-43, Ontario ahead as we come back from our technical difficulties. We appreciate your patience, everybody, on that live stream on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. British Columbia really keeping themselves in this on the defensive side of the ball, forcing Ontario to play a game that they were not prepared to play, but will have to make some halftime adjustments as there's a foul on Ontario. Both teams in the bonus, so upcoming free throws here for British Columbia, who really would love to have some points go in with the clock stop.
Well, absolutely. And here's the bright side for Team Ontario is, of course, this is most definitely, I think from the tight score, we can tell that this is not what they were expecting out of this matchup. But they do have this next 15 minutes going into the halftime to really figure out what's going to work from there. This is a very deep team. They have a ton of ways to kind of claw their way back. And I think one of the big kind of key things right now for them is the fact that Jalen Shepherd has been held to minimum points compared to what he is used to. As for BC, I think what's going to need to happen is this is a great basis, a great way to keep this game tight, but how can we elevate it now, knowing that Ontario is going to come out of the third quarter swinging?
12.3 left in the half. Walters, the leading scorer for Ontario, has it on the far side. He coughs it up. 2-point game. Osei Bodu to the rack. Walters gets back. Couldn't get a fingertip on it. And what an exciting finish. And if this first half is any sort of foreshadowing towards what's coming up in quarter 3 and 4,
right,
please do not change the channel. It is going to be a nail-biter. Both teams absolutely bringing it in the first semifinal. We'll step aside for the half and get you set for third quarter action. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live from the Ontario Tech Gymnasium on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back inside the Ontario Tech University Gymnasium. We'll get you set for second half action. Ontario, British Columbia, semifinal number 1. Ontario ahead by 2. And if you're just joining the broadcast and wondering how that's happened, it's a couple of things. First and foremost, British Columbia's defense has really halted the offensive juggernaut Ontario is known to be, and Ontario forced to shoot perimeter shots, just 2 of 15 for 13% from deep. Haley, how about Balshan Dhaliwal and what he's given British Columbia off the bench?
Oh, well, it's been absolutely spectacular. From the second he got out here, he just had a massive presence down in the paint, and for him to be able to keep going in the second half is so exciting, because the second that BC lets up anything that they were doing in the first half, that's when Ontario is going to strike. That's what they do every third quarter here, so a strong start is very important, and I think Dhaliwal continuing that is just his elevated level of play is going to really elevate all of BC's, and I truly believe that.
We got a couple of fans going back and forth with the provincial flags, getting their fans riled up here in the gym. Ontario 38% from the field. Meanwhile, British Columbia a blistering 53%. Both teams shooting 76%, which is fairly good for this tournament's averages from the free throw line. Rebound favoring British Columbia right now, 23-3. We'll see who takes the game on their shoulders. Sam Spotkin and Logan Schback for British Columbia, the leading two. Schback has 12 points, Spotkin 8, Osei Boadu with 9. Cavante Walters 12 on the other side for Ontario.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, with BC winning the rebounding battle right now, I don't think once in this tournament has Ontario ever been losing it at the halftime, so that's a big difference here as well. So definitely the presence from Stroman, he's got to step it up a little bit here and help Ontario get those rebounds back.
Walters with his 4th strip of the game, and he slams it down for 2. Wondering if that's not the turning point of this one. It remains to be seen. Osei Boadu finds Shpotkin. Osei Boadu putting the moves on Walters, gets him in the air. Rebound, kick back out. Logan Schback for 3, no good. Stroman taps it to Badejo. He's up the right-hand side. Euro stepping in the lane. Missed, but following up the play was Jordan Osage. 4-0 run to start the second half for Ontario.
And there's that transition basketball that Ontario really relies on, and getting that going more in this second half is a way for them to be able to pull away with a more comfortable lead.
Save up for deep, no. Osei Boadu unable to corral it. Logan Schback does. He finds Spotkin, who reloads. In and out. Loose ball. Stroman finds Walters. Walters has Clark in the corner. That misses. And Brandon Clark was a revelation for Ontario in the first half, coming out firing.
Yeah, him and Walters have been a extremely strong duo together, even though they don't really work with each other too much on the court, but they're both very steady presences for Ontario.
Badejo catch and shoot, bottom. It's the captain with 3.
That's important there. They're now 3 for 17. Like we were saying earlier, BC forcing Ontario to take that 3-point shot, just like how Ontario did to them in their first meeting. So that definitely seems to be a strategy in this specific matchup.
Walters knocks it out of bounds. 18 on the shot clock. We appreciate you tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from here on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. JJ Evison, Haley Hopkinson on the semifinal calls. Up next, Alberta and Quebec. Osei Boadu to the rack. Second chance opportunity. Stroman says, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Badejo with 1 to beat. Elevates. Acrobatic. Can't get it. Tyler. 5-on-4 for British Columbia the other way. Spotkin drags that pivot foot.
It's going to be 19 turnovers for BC now compared to Ontario's 7.
It's a 7-0 run for the boys in white to start the third quarter. Did British Columbia have a response? Badejo top side, looking for Osage on the far wing. Couldn't connect. Over top, Stroman surveys the floor. Walters accepts. In and out. Seva with the rebound. Osei Bodu running the lane. And Seva says, that's my bad. The breakout pass just off to the right and out of bounds. Balshan Dhaliwal into the game for Marcus Tyler. So quick change here for Graham Bonner's side.
Well, him coming off the bench, I kind of like that. He gets the chance to see kind of what Ontario has changed about their game in the first half, and now coming in and hopefully looking to make a big impact.
Clark working on Shapotkin. Finds Badejo, who dials it up. Back iron. And above the crowd is Shpak with the rebound. Shapotkin got some work done on that left arm there in the halftime. He got it taped up. He goes all the way to the rack, lays it in off the glass, and British Columbia find their first 2 points of the third quarter, courtesy of Sam Shapotkin.
The pressure defensively, a little bit, a couple signs of a press here from BC, and it looks like Ontario slowly started to back theirs off in the slightest bit. It didn't look like it was always just with the inbounds play after a basket were they putting that press on. It felt like it was always there, giving them a hard time every time they tried to cross half, and we're seeing a little bit less of that.
Nathan Rudnick checks in. And help spread the floor a little more for Yusri Salia's side as Jordan Osage to the bench.
In yesterday's game, he kind of took a big step up on the defensive side as well. So he's going to be a big impact here.
Walters leaves it short. Stroman with the big man follow. Seva working on Rudnick. Rudnick keeps his feet moving laterally to stay in front of the player from North Saanich. Osei Bodu to the rack. Fouled on the shot attempt. So first foul of the third quarter coming nearly 4 minutes into the play, and it goes against Ontario. It'll be Brandon Clark's third personal, which now forces Team Ontario's coaching staff to make a decision. If I was a betting man, I'd say Elijah Hammond will be stepping up off the bench here shortly. A little premature celebration there from Osei Bodu, who sees that wrap around the rim and fall on the outside.
I think Elijah Hammond would be a great idea coming in soon. He does a great job of not only cleaning up some of the baskets, just like we saw Stroman do, but maybe having the two of them out there for some bigger presence, because we see Clark play nearly every position on this court, but his presence in the paint has been definitely the most important role in this specific game.
So Clark's 3 fouls joins Nicholas Woodrich's 3 fouls for Ontario. Walters, tough finish. Ren Hetherington in at the last available time. A little bit more pressure now from Ontario's press. Shapotkin with the catch and shoot, rattles it through.
13 points for him, now leading this team, which is back not far behind him with 12.
And the mistakes continue to pile up for Ontario. That last one on the inbound pass gives British Columbia the ball on the baseline with 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, the Team Ontario girls team is playing right now against Alberta, but the BC girls already done their games for today, so they're here. And earlier today, I was overhearing some parents saying their favorite thing about this entire trip has been the way that the girls and boys teams support each other. So despite Ontario being at home, it doesn't feel like too much of a home advantage right now.
Sam Shapotkin putting the province of British Columbia on his back early in the third quarter, gets to the rack with the opportunity for the and one. And up off the bench for Ontario is Nicholas Woodrich and Jordan Osage. Brandon Clark to the bench alongside Thomas Stroman. It's a little bit of a smaller lineup. More guard play here for Ontario. Woodrich over the timeline, and Walters playing a little bit of catch. The double screen comes up. Walters ignores it, gets to it, finds Woodrich, who attacks baseline, kicks it out to the captain, Badejo. He's looking inside. Kind of a strange shot. Spack calmly into the three. Doesn't get the shooter's touch. Walters with the rebound. Badejo, full head of steam. Woodrich guard. Standing his ground underneath the basket. And every single positive play from British Columbia gets the same response. Players off the bench, teammates coming together, trying to keep that infectious positive energy going. Jalen Shepherd into the game now for Ontario. Nathan Rudnick's time on the court comes to an end for now. 4-point game. British Columbia trail. Woodrich on Shapotkin. Deflects that enough. Here's Shepherd. It's a 3-on-2. He dumps it off to Badejo, who lays it in with the right hand.
That's some perfect transition basketball right there. And to see Shepherd getting on the board, whether it's with assist or points, is a big part of their game. And that's something that needs to come a little more alive here.
Osei Bodu sees the lane. Badejo with the steal. Another 3-on-2. Woodrich, one dribble, underneath, hands it off. Walters finishes the play. Timeout, British Columbia, 62-54. 8-point game. We go back and forth. 3:58 left in the third quarter. Semifinal number one. The second one coming up at 6 o'clock features Quebec, who took down New Brunswick yesterday in a tight battle, 66-53 to take on Alberta. The gymnasium continues to fill up here at the Ontario Tech Gymnasium in the Durham region of Ontario.
Well, the turnover battle right now, 20 for BC, 9 for Ontario. Last few minutes here, BC doing a better job when it comes to that regard, but yeah, Ontario three-point shooting 3 for 19 right now. It's definitely hurting them, taking away those possessions, and they're using a lot more of the clock than we see them in previous games usually, and I think it's because of the pressure of this. It's not a full court press, but it's a good little press that BC is putting on them. By the time their offense, Ontario's offense, is actually set up and the point guard is ready to start the play or whatever, they're down to about 8 seconds every time.
We get our first look today at Ehizogi Ahikametalor, number 10 in white. Another player that is known to bring energy from the bench. Shapotkin gets past the timeline and gets it to Hetherington, who finds Osei Bodu. Now to Spack, picked up by Walters. Spack hands it off to Hetherington. Thought about it. There's no shot there. Osei Bodu looking for a lane between the legs and stripped by Woodrich. Jump ball called. It's going to go with Ontario. Because of the change of possession, the shot clock's going to go down to 22. Still plenty of time on that. Ahikametalor slowing things down. Looks inside, finds Walters. Shapotkin doesn't get out on him in time. Shepherd comes in for the rebound and gets fouled on the second chance opportunity. So here's Jalen Shepherd at the line. 5 points, 3 boards, 2 assists so far in the game.
Ontario right now, 13 for 17 from the line. BC very similar, 12 for 16.
Shepard comes up empty-handed on the first. He's grabbing that left thumb that he has taped, as well as his wrist. The second falls through. Spotkin picked up by Ahika Metalor. Does a good job to keep the dribble alive. Hetherington now forced back towards the timeline. Inside, Marcus Tyler to Shapotkin, who pulls up from the base. Boxed out by Osage to make sure he collected that defensive rebound. Woodrich. Works to the left. Pulls up from the mid-range. Overshot. Ahika Metalor in the corner. Finds Shepard. No basket. Foul on Spack. Side out. So he picks up his third now. 2:40 left in the third quarter in a 9-point game.
Woodrich has done a good job playing with 3 fouls here.
And Woodrich was surveying the floor the entire time, found the lane, got up. Osei Bodu goes up and gets fouled by Osage. And you can see he just turned his body into the lane. So the clock is stopped, and upcoming free throws for British Columbia.
Osage had a in the first matchup here, and already just that one board he got on the previous BC play here actually boxed out. It's something we do not see enough of. Everyone wants to be the first one to jump up and get their hands on it, but when everyone is all within an inch of each other, it's different. Maybe with prep school you have some shorter guys, and a 6'6" guard really stands out in that case, but right now it doesn't.
So Walters turns on the Jets, finds Osage. He's going to reset at the top. And again, British Columbia doing a good job in that zone. Ahika Metalor overcooked it. Shpotkin has Osei Bodu ahead of the pack. Osage comes back. And another foul on Osage will send Osei Bodu to the line.
Third personal foul on Jordan Osage.
So Osage's got 3. Clark's got 3. And Woodrich have 3 for Ontario. For British Columbia, Spack, the lone player with 3 personal fouls.
In their game against Nova Scotia, Spack had 4 personal fouls for, I believe, the entire fourth quarter. So he's definitely someone who knows how to kind of manage with a ton of personal fouls against him. But if he could wait until the fourth to obviously get that fourth, put him in a better position to close out the game.
Substitution for British Columbia. Benjamin Seva into the game for Hetherington. Woodrich navigating the tight spaces, moving a mile a minute. Osage offensive board. He finds Walters in the corner at the deep 2 if it goes. In and out. Loose ball. Shepard knocked it loose and collects it into the middle of the floor. Squares up and rattles one through.
That looked more like the Ontario we've seen during the Nationals. That quick pace that they play at sometimes causes a little more errors and they get a little uncomfortable. But right now, with those limited errors and getting that turnover, that pace is what they need.
Ahika Metalor finds Walters leaking out. Walters to the rack. Count the basket and the foul. He just got the right angle to get to where he wanted to go, not leaving any space for Osei Bodu to get to the lane.
Yeah, there's that speed when it comes to transition, the speed when it just comes to moving that ball a little bit quicker, finding those open shots, and of course never giving up on those plays like we just saw Jalen Shepard do, is able to pick off that ball before BC kind of assuming at that point everyone's heading back.
Walters doesn't connect. Osage with the rebound. Dumps it off to Walters, who was anticipating the pass and went up immediately. 14-point game, Ontario ahead now. They're winning the quarter by 10, 22-12. Jalen Shepard takes the foul, and Sam Shapotkin will step up to the free throw line. He's got 16 points to go with 6 boards and 2 assists. And he comes up empty-handed. Walters, with springs in his calves, jumps above everybody for the rebound, goes end to end, and is fouled on the finger roll.
Ontario taking full advantage of the bonus here in the last minute.
Thomas Stroman back into the game for Jordan Osage. Kabir Dillon, a 3-point specialist, into the game for British Columbia. I can't get over that shot he made 2 days ago in front of the opponent's bench. Just late in the shot clock, he just turned, hoisted it up. It kissed the ceiling here at the Ontario Tech Gymnasium.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And fell through.
Yeah, the high arc on that one was ridiculous. It looked like majority of that, it looked like it was going to be an air ball because of how high it was.
Jalen Shepard beats the box out. One-handed rebound and the put back for 2, 73-57. Ontario slowly creeping away. Shapotkin takes the handoff, ignores the screen from Tyler, and gets to the rack. Badejo, no good. Ahika Metalor couldn't knock it in. Foul on Stroman, swiping down on the ball. Got Benjamin Seva on the side of the head. So more free throws upcoming here for British Columbia with the clock stopped. That's a good thing if you're a fan of the boys in red. Seva goes perfect on the trip. And Ontario can hold for the last possession here, barring a turnover or a shot earlier on. 6 seconds left. Walters finds Badejo. He's off to the right. And at the end of 3 quarters, Ontario leads 73-61. We'll step aside for the quarter break and bring you 4th quarter action. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live from the Ontario Tech University Gymnasium on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. 10 more minutes on the clock before one team, either Ontario or British Columbia, booked the first spot in the championship game set for tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Will it be the defending champs, Ontario, fighting for another title, or will British Columbia overcome this deficit and shock the tournament by sending home the defending champs? Again, we appreciate you tuning in. That ball sent into the stands. J.J. Evison here with Haley Hopkinson.
Well, definitely what kind of switched for Ontario in the second half of that third quarter there. Came out in the third definitely with some improvements, but I don't think until the end of that third it was the pace that really got them. They were moving way quicker, less mistakes. They looked a lot more confident in what they were doing, and that's how then the transition really started going. They're making better rebounds, and I think if they move at that pace for the rest of this fourth quarter, they're going to be able to really close this game without too many troubles here, because at the end of the day, with the talent on this team, not many teams can keep up with the scoring pace that Ontario has.
Ontario has attempted 24 three-point shots and have only made 3 of them, one from each of Shepard, Badejo, and this man right here, Walters, who back irons another attempt from beyond the arc. Shepard offensive rebound. Badejo thought about it, finds Shepard. He's locked and loaded. Walters, another offensive rebound, blocked at the top. Loose ball. Falls to the hands of Seva, knocked away by Shepard, but right into the hands of Osei Bodu. Spotkin turns the corner. Baseline jumper, back iron. Stroman rebound. He's looking for Ahika Metalor, who has it top over the timeline. Spin move in the lane, left hand, count the basket and the foul. Put it on the highlight reel.
The change in pace for him to be able to calmly bring the ball up and then just use the screen from Stroman to really just break away and find his own lane. He's done it all tournament long, and it's definitely coming in handy here.
The and one is good. 76-61, 15-point game. Seva working down the left-hand side. Back into the middle. Dumps it off. Shapotkin blown up. Running into Shepard, who was late getting to the spot. And Shapotkin's just putting his body on the line, time in, time again.
Yeah, we already see him taped up, but he goes the extra effort. I think his leg's taped up too.
He's got
the quad?
Perhaps a quad contusion and an elbow injury.
Well, we know why. It's because he'll do anything to get the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Blood, sweat, and tears is what it takes to win a championship. Ahika Metalor behind the back in tight spaces. Hit on the backside. So back to the free throw line for number 10 in white. Just completed the three-point play there. Tyler picks up the foul for British Columbia.
It's an important time now for BC to not get frustrated. Still 8.5 minutes left. We've seen them be able to battle back in deficits before in this tournament, and it's just about kind of going back to what was working in that first quarter.
A defensive rebound and an important one from Marcus Tyler. Logan Spack picked up by Walters, who's got 6 steals, by the way, in this game. Reads the lanes really well. That ball turned over. Captain Badejo slows up, uses the glass to get another 2 points. And Ontario's starting to look like the dominant force that we know that they can beat.
Yep, 26 fast break points for them.
Jalen Shepard doing a good job staying with his assignment. Gets the block on one end, feeds Ahika Metalor on the other, who has the hot hand. Badejo, Walters, in and out, and the 3 points continue to rattle around but not fall for Ontario. And there's a foul on the holding of Stroman. Marcus Tyler picks up his second. BC already has 3 team fouls, 7:49 left in regulation.
Yeah, we saw at the end of the third Ontario really take advantage of the situation they were in with the bonus, and that was only in the last 2 minutes, probably getting to the line about 4 or 5 times. So
He commit to Lore from the corner. He can't see one through. Shpotkin quickly into the front court. We have another shot clock issue. So they'll reset it to 21, and British Columbia will take it out on the side.
Ontario 3 for 27, shooting 11%.
As a shooter, you always got to believe the next one's going to go in.
Yeah.
Deflected ball by Clark, who checks back into the game. He's got a runway. Up and too strong. And he commits to Lore there to clean up the garbage.
6 points for him. He's quickly become a very important Team Ontario player in this matchup here.
Shepard with a strip. A runway. And he gets it to go. We'll call it a dunk.
Yeah. Oh, this is the time where it feels like everything's starting to click for Team Ontario. It came late in this game for them, but usually this is something we see kind of early in those first 2 quarters. But for BC to hold them and keep them down for as long as they did is great, but now it's about offensive power coming from BC. They're going to have to keep getting on this scoreboard here.
It's a 22-point lead for Ontario, and it kind of feels like BC's playing a little bit more frantically, looking to get a basket.
Yeah, it seems like they can feel it slipping away, and they're kind of losing sight of what was working so well for them in that first and second. I think they need to bring back their press. It was working well, and we kind of lost formation of their zone defense. And yes, of course, Ontario getting some more transition basketball here, but it's also about the errors that are causing that for Ontario. So cleaning up on their own side, on their own offense, it'll also help their defense to avoid some transition.
We'll see what sort of adjustments Graham Bonner makes for his side. As he's sticking with a little bit of a bigger lineup.
And Spack with 4 personal fouls now, and Ontario, whether or not they're aware of it, they've done a great job of drawing contact on everybody in the BC lineup, so he'll have to definitely stay careful. And a way he did that in previous games was staying more around the perimeter and guarding that.
Badejo saw that pass the entire way. He commits to Lore, putting Osei Bodu in the spin cycle, finishing with the left. Reaching in. He commits to Lore, stops the play, sends British Columbia to the sideline. Shpotkin takes the handoff, gets inside, kicks it back out. Seva back inside. Shpotkin top side, bottoms it. It's a deep 2. Badejo dumps it off to Clark, who puts it down with ferocity.
Yeah, BC looking like they're playing very hesitant right now. In the beginning of the game, we saw them kind of breaking that press with ease with these quick passes, not really second-guessing it. But now that the turnovers are starting to get up there for them, having 29, they're definitely playing more hesitant.
Good ball movement around the perimeter. Finds Badejo open on the wing.
Yeah, he's 2 for 8 now, so not the best shooting performance from him in that department. Help him out. I'm sure at practice he'll be working on that a little bit more to prepare if they can close it out in the final minutes here and make the finals.
Timeout, Team Ontario. And in this timeout, you're really just getting the mentality of the team right.
Yeah.
Don't look at the score, but they've got to treat it like it's a 0-0 game. And British Columbia just need to find stops. And they're, open looks. If you're the first player to touch the ball and you have an open look, you've got to let it fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Too much hesitation going on right now. It's only helping Ontario catch up to them defensively.
Woodrich has it for Ontario as we approach 5 minutes remaining in the regulation. Ahika Metalor into the middle. Woodrich. Shot clock violation, so British Columbia win that possession. They just got to stack those wins.
Yep.
Logan Spack with the three. It falls.
15 points for him. He's someone that doesn't hesitate. He's pulled his three numerous times from the top of the perimeter like that.
Moyes with the dump off for Beauperai. That's knocked out of bounds. Team Ontario basketball on the baseline. Turnover. Spack has the lane. Well-timed rejection by Moyes, but there to follow up the play was Benjamin Seva. British Columbia have won the last 4 possessions. Mateo Moyes floats it from the mid-range. No good. Brandon Clark there. And he comes down hard on Marcus Tyler. Balshawn Dhaliwal is going to come in. Marcus Tyler to the bench. Elijah Hammond awaits his turn to come in for Ontario.
This is going to be Clark's 12th and 13th shot attempt. He's done a great job of not shying away from any contact in this match, getting to the line numerous times.
He started the game 4 for 4 from the line, then went on a 1 for 4 run from the line, and he just misses those 2. British Columbia stay hungry to get back in the game. Osei Bodu, topside Shapotkin. Spack's ready for the catch and shoot. Inside out. Osei Bodu. Loose ball. Through contact, no good. Mateo Moyes quickly to Woodrich. Woodrich lays it in with the right. Shapotkin through traffic. 4 minutes left in regulation. Clark with the rejection. 3-on-2 the other way. Woodrich finds Ahika Metalor. Shapotkin's got a runway. And he lays it in for 2. Timeout, Team Ontario. 92-70. Still a big deficit and a big mountain to climb for British Columbia.
Yeah.
Players hunched over, grabbing their legs, gasping for breath.
Yeah, they're definitely putting as much effort as they possibly could. And, I mean, the way that they were performing in that first half is no doubt something that's difficult to maintain the whole time. But again, that halftime break there really just gave Ontario the opportunity to adjust in a game that they weren't necessarily ready for. And for BC, they gave really all that they had in that first half, hoping that it was enough, and it was. But in the second half, after Ontario had some time to kind of figure out their next move, BC didn't really know what to expect at that point.
Sam Spotkin, Nathaniel Osei-Bodu, and Logan Spack all up in that 34-minute range so far. The minutes spread out more evenly amongst Ontario, but still 26 minutes for Badejo, 27 for Walters, 27 for Clark, 22 for Shepard, who's worked himself up to 12 points, 8 boards, and 4 steals. As play resumes, it's Woodrich with it. Hammond to Rudnick. And that's his specialty. Hetherington up to Hunter Siebert. And British Columbia have brought in their bench. Mason Knorr, Kabir Dillon, Ren Hetherington, Bruce Willis-Croft, and Owen Hunter Siebert going to see the remaining 3 minutes of action. Woodrich, Euro steps, finds Beaupre, that's off the mark. Last touch by British Columbia, Ontario ball baseline. Warming up in the hallway are the players from Alberta and Quebec. Our second semifinal, which tips off at 6 o'clock Eastern, right here on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. Side step, 3, a little short from Rudnick. Hetherington's going to dial one up from distance and see it all the way through.
Oh, he had 2 rebounds in this one and now 3 points. BC really did put on a absolutely fantastic performance, especially in those first 2 quarters. Did the best that they could and still working very well in the second half as well. And it's just hard when Ontario has so many different and very different types of offensive weapons.
40 minutes of sustained defensive excellence is a lot to ask, especially against this Ontario offense. Credit British Columbia for doing what they did in that first half as Mason Knorr lets it go. Long shots, long rebounds. Nick Woodrich dumps it off to Moyes. He sees it through off the glass, and again, Ontario have 100.
It's also such a different game and different performance from the first game. That's the thing. BC didn't come in here with the strategy that they're playing with right now. So knowing how to kind of make that strategy and how to get 40 minutes of the first 20 we played is definitely going to be their strategy coming into next year, which is great to know that. But this team is nothing like the team we saw on the first day of National, so that in itself is a massive accomplishment.
And of course, they will still play for a medal in that bronze medal game against the loser of Quebec and Alberta. Moyes puts another 2 on the board. Turnover. Rudnick ahead to Moyes. He's got Woodrich to his left. Woodrich off the glass. Gets the roll for 2. And Ontario's just running and running.
Woodrich got 3 personal fouls kind of early in this one, so not as many minutes for him as we've seen in previous games, but he's still showing to be extremely impactful with 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Kabir Dillon looking to find Knorr, and Nicholas Woodrich snatches the ball and goes all the way to the rack. Knorr and Dillon playing give and go. Dillon's going to release it. Rebound. Falls into the hands of Bruce Willis-Croft. 6'5" forward from Tsawwassen. Where the ferry connects the mainland and. Are you going to the island when you go to British Columbia?
Yes.
Aren't you going there soon,
I think
right?
so, yes.
You
I have
should.
a friend who lives on the island. So
Whereabouts?
That's too much.
Okay.
I don't know.
Nanaimo. Victoria. Okay, yeah, the southern part of the island. James Bay is a little area of Victoria that I would highly recommend, right off Fisherman's Wharf.
Okay.
Really lovely. You can sometimes spot orcas from the pier
wow.
walk out there. Pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Quick turn from Hunter Siebert. He gets fouled, and he'll go to the line.
Well, yeah, much smaller margin here than the first time we saw them, and I really do think that's got to be one of the most impressive things is the jump that BC took from day 1 to here day 5, right? Day 5?
Day 5, yeah. It's all kind of blending together.
It does. But yeah, for day 6, I mean, you're so right. The chance to compete for a medal here, either with Alberta or BC. And all 4 of these teams who have a chance to compete for the medal all in Pool A. So they definitely had some difficult competition to start off the tournament, and it's nice to be able to recognize that growth that they've had by all 4 of these teams staying super competitive throughout the tournament.
So Ontario won the first quarter, 24-21, as Mateo Moyes sinks another 3. British Columbia came back in that second quarter and beat Ontario by 1. Then in the third, it was Ontario by 10, and here in the fourth, it's Ontario at the expiration of the game. Mason Norris sinks another 2, and Ontario will compete to defend their title. The question is, who will they have to take down to become reigning champions? Alberta enters the gymnasium. Quebec enters the gymnasium. But do not forget what you saw here today from British Columbia in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, they'll be back tomorrow waiting for that bronze medal. The opportunity to get that's going to be huge. And, I mean, coming into this matchup, I thought the biggest things BC needed to focus on was better ball movement and breaking that press. I thought that's exactly what they did, breaking that press with ease. And honestly, whoever they end up facing tomorrow, if they can throw that press that they throw on Ontario on the other team for the whole game, I think watch out, because they could be walking home with some hardware.
Tip-off of the second semifinal comes your way in about 25 minutes' time. Join us on Canada Basketball's YouTube page to see who will try and steal the crown from Team Ontario. We will be back for that tip-off. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live from the Ontario Tech University Gymnasium on Canada Basketball's YouTube page.